I mean, just one quick story, and it actually involves Thomas. I don't think he'd mind me telling the story. I think it's like, so Thomas and I lived together, and Thomas's father died from cancer, and he was in a very typical scenario that people are in when they have a loved one die of cancer. His father had been prescribed morphine for the cancer pain, and I remember him coming back to the apartment that we were living in. He had this big bottle full of these blue 5 milligram morphine sulfate tablets. It was just like completely full, and he put it on the counter and he said, help yourself, you can have as many as you want. And I took one. I thought it was okay. It made me really constipated. I wasn't really into it. And that was it. That was the end of my experimentation with morphine sulfate. Thomas, on the other hand, became addicted to morphine.
Oh, wow.
So we have two people living in the exact same apartment,
right,
with the exact same access to the exact same drug, yet one of them becomes dependent and the other one doesn't.
Wow.
Why is that?
Right.
If it were just the drug, wouldn't we both have become equally dependent on the morphine? We both had access to the same bottle, but it wasn't just the drug. Thomas was going through a lot of emotional pain as a result of losing his father.
Right.
I was in a relatively emotionally stable situation and was less susceptible to addiction for that reason. So if you deny all these psychological, environmental, social aspects of addiction, you're fundamentally misrepresenting the problem, and you'll never help anyone.
And everyone's different in regards to like their chemical makeup too, right? Like depending on like emotions or what their lifestyle is, like we're like these bags of hormones and different chemicals that is constantly fluctuating. Like we're never in a solid state.
Oh, absolutely. Right.
So and like drugs are going to interact with everybody differently.
Right. So like I experience extremely severe hangovers. Like I could have 3 drinks.
Same here.
And the next day I would be just off. The next day would be useless. I wouldn't be like vomiting and, have like a splitting headache. I would just feel like shit kind of.
Yeah.
Other people can have 5 drinks with lunch and it's nothing. So they're fundamentally responding to this in a different way as a result of likely genetic metabolic differences between us. So the punishing effect of the alcohol hangover just doesn't apply to them as much. And those same people are going to be more susceptible to alcoholism.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of factors.
I've always found it so interesting how people I know, I have friends that can function and live their lives and are ultra successful in their lives that can go day to day doing like hard drugs. Like I'm talking about like Ambient, cocaine.
Ambient?
Yeah.
You call Ambient a hard drug?
For me, yeah, I would call it a hard drug. I'm super like lightweight. I'm a pussy when it comes to drugs. Okay. But like I have friends like that can just function off this stuff and do it every single day. And I'm not talking just Ambient. I'm talking going from Ambient to Adderall to cocaine to Vicodins and muscle relaxers, like all in the course of a day. And they're like arguably they're more with it than I am.
Oh, yeah. Well, you become tolerant as well.
Right.
That's the other thing. But yeah, I mean, the way you describe it, you make it sound crazy.
Yeah,
but,
to me, it's crazy.
Yeah, but people drink coca tea in a lot of South America. They're consuming cocaine every day. It's not a big deal. It kind of depends on the culture, how you're doing it, what the dose is. I mean, people take 80 milligrams of Adderall a day.
It's
fucking
crazy
nuts
to me, dude.
But for those people, it's just normal. In the same way that nicotine very rapidly becomes just normal. Right now, if I were to take that Zyn that's
it's staring at
that's staring at me intently from over there, it would be wild. It would be
Really?
Oh yeah, it would be wild.
Wow.
It would be a wild ride that I will not take. And because I have no tolerance, I stopped using nicotine.
Really?
For now, I may be back,
sure.
but it's been a little while, and I'm gonna see how far I can go with this. And
how's it been so far?
It's been fine. You can live without it.
Yeah. Did you notice any sort of crash or any sort of like withdrawal?
A little bit, yeah. But that's useful as well. I think is to actually analyze what it is that you feel that you're missing, what it is that it was doing for you, because it's not always entirely intuitive. I mean, I felt that way with cannabis. I don't think I would have really known. But for me, and I think for a lot of people, I would use it just to like reduce my annoyance or anger. That became the kind of thing. Is like, you're annoyed, you're angry, smoke some weed, chill out.
Wow.
But then again, it's sort of like taking Ambient to go to sleep. A typical life involves numerous occasions where you feel annoyance. And if you don't develop a healthy way of contending with annoying situations, you're just going to be all bent out of shape.
Sure. Yeah. But what I was like when I was explaining my buddies that I know that use Ambien to go to sleep and Adderall to wake up every day, I was like, it feels like to me you're just burning the candle at both ends, and it can't be a healthy way to exist. But somehow these people manage to not only exist but thrive.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know. That's just, to me, it's kind of unfathomable.
You can do it. I don't, it's whether or not it's good just depends on so many factors. I would say all else equal, it's probably better not to. Yeah. But again, you do have people that struggle horribly with insomnia. Maybe if they just take 5 milligrams of Zolpidem before bed, it's better for them. It just kind of depends. For me, is I travel a lot. And when I'm traveling, I'm always working. And so it never feels like, oh, I'm just going to tough it out and not sleep before a strictly scheduled chemistry project where every day matters. Like, it just feels too, again, but this is my rationalization. There's too much at stake. I can't, I'm about to go on a big chemistry voyage, and it's like, you better believe
you gotta put some high octane gas in your body before you do that. It makes sense. My one of my buddies in particular that uses Ambien a lot, he'll explain to me sometimes how he has security cameras all over his house, so he'll like fight the urge to go to sleep after he takes the Ambien, and he'll go into one of the rooms in his house where he has a monitor that shows all of his cameras, and he said he'll be staring at like his driveway camera, and he'll see like a unicorn walk across the driveway, and he like hallucinates on it.
Yeah, that can happen. Often. It doesn't tend to, I had a little bit of that when I first used it. Once you become a little bit tolerant to it, the dominant effect is a sort of ultra disinhibited delirium. So that's like the kind of Roseanne Barr type situation where you're like tweeting some crazy shit that you don't remember. Like, that's the real, so it's not so much for most people that they start seeing unicorns. It's more like your entire sense of social, professional caution goes out the window because you're just totally disinhibited. You know, you have these examples of people like masturbating on planes or things like that, and it's like
they're often on shit like Ambien.
Yeah, and I could imagine it. I could imagine how, like, on one hand, you could see someone being a sex criminal and using that as an excuse. On the other hand, it's crazily disinhibiting. It really does whack you out.